Hello, 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 everyone. Happy Friday. Happy long weekend if you're in the U.S. and you get Monday off, Memorial Day. By the way, markets closed normal time today. The futures markets open Sunday night at the normal time and are closed early, 1 p.m. Eastern for the financial markets like the S&P futures, 1 p.m. Eastern. On Monday, it will be lighter trading. I probably won't be here unless something major happens. So, because the cash market is closed. So, that's where we sit. How is everyone doing? Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Heinrich. Thank you for shouting out Sterling, Heinrich. Good morning, Sterling. Sterling putting a capital goods stuff in there. Good morning, Mark. Haven't seen you in a little bit. Hope all's well. Let's see. Hey, good morning, Jacob. Where else do we have Sterling still putting in some stuff from yesterday? Good morning, Charles. Might be a lighter viewership day today. Actually, I like this. Sterling updated things from yesterday afternoon, then we're back to today. So, good morning, Daniel. All right. We got durable goods. Came out durable goods coming out 0.7. It was expecting a contraction coming out 0.7, and then 0.4x transports and x defense 0. More important, last month was revised dramatically lower. Still positive, but revised dramatically lower again. Numbers miraculously, for the most part, seem to be coming out strong, and then they're consistently revised lower, which means not saying anything nefarious is going on. I'm just saying maybe if that's repeatedly happening, maybe there's a problem with the way you're gathering the numbers. Just saying, or there could be something else going on. We got Waller speaking. 5 minutes after the cash open. We got consumer sentiment coming out, the final numbers for May. Really pay attention to the inflation expectations, especially the short-term inflation expectations. So that's going to be really key. That's going to be the biggest thing. And then consumer sentiment, which is forecast to be in the crapper. Again, nothing on Monday. Oh, yay, and then the first thing, look, Tuesday after Memorial Day, Mester, 12:55 a.m. Eastern Time. Must be over in Europe to launch that off for next week. S&P 500 after the pretty brutal sell-off yesterday. Remember yesterday's title? Oh, that was, and then there was one. And then there was one. Hold on. Let's see if I took a screenshot. Wait. Let's see. Oh, there we go. And then there was one. Look at that. And then there was one yesterday. So we're going to see the bounce back. That's going to be pretty critical. Intuit and Salesforce down this morning, but everything else pretty much green in terms of your groups. Everything's positive today. The bounce back Friday going into Labor Day. Summer's already over. We're going into Labor Day. Nope, we're going into Memorial Day. By the way, let's do a quick refresh of this. I refreshed it earlier. I was looking at it yesterday afternoon also. Goldman came out. They don't see the first cut till from July. I don't know where Goldman is because the cut in July has been priced out for a while. So they're moving it to September. Well, at this point, September has gone back over 50% for a pause. And then the first cut after the election in November. So that's where it sits today. Let's see if this shifts again. Back to neutral mode. Sorry, I've been up. I'm a little tired today, even though I'm on my second cup of coffee. Been up since 2 something a.m. there was no earnings really yesterday afternoon. That's market moving, and unless you're trading Booz Allen Hamilton or Mesa Labs, there's nothing going on this morning. So let's see. Good morning, Royal Palms. A trader in Citigroup, I did not see this. 78 million in fines this week by mistyping an order to sell shares. Oops. You gotta be careful with those. Maybe they should have an autocorrect feature for that. Autocorrect's handy, but when it autocorrects something that you're trying to type differently, it's so frustrating. Oh, good. And then there was one. That's all I have to say. Just watch out for Nvidia. Nvidia is probably going to turn into the Cisco of this period, when everything is piling into Nvidia and AI, and we'll see. But we had the pretty decent sell-off into the rotation zone. Why this bounce is critical. Remember, now this pretty big outside key reversal day. Okay? So we made a new all-time high in the futures, and then reversing and outside versus Wednesday, and then a close below Wednesday's lows. That is a pretty significant reversal day. Now, does that mean we just magically short the market? No. We still got the rotation zone with it. The magic line, the sand now is 51.15. The little key on any bounce up, the level I'm watching is 53.32.75, so 53.33. On any bounce today, so far we have a little channel, pretty narrow channel. I'm just going to be focused on these upside harmonics. First one is about 53.09. Then we get to 53.21 on any rally, even if it rallies through into next week, Monday week rally, or even Tuesday. My very key level is 53.21. If we get through there, the really big area for the retest of the most recent highs is a close about 53.33. Other than that, I'm going to be watching for a breakdown again. Today, you're going to have people leaving early. You're going to have traders turning it into a 4-day weekend, at least the bigger traders turning in, so there'll be more junior people manning the desk, and some algos will get shut down early. So this is a day, if you don't need to do something, maybe you, if there's no good setups in the morning, I'd call it a day early personally, and start your weekend early. And if you have another job, you're just tuning in for the open, focus on your other job, and then have a very enjoyable long weekend if you're in the U.S. 52.95 is going to be key support I'm looking at going into the open. That's going to be the key support. If we start breaking there, and I'm watching for the channel to break down, then my next target area will be 52.85, and then the lows from yesterday. So that's why this bounce is key. For the NASDAQ, new all-time highs, and then closing Wednesday's low was 18,684.25. Yesterday's close was 18,696.25. So not quite an outside key reversal day, but still significant because it was an outside day. Back to the rotation zone, bouncing off the 8. The key level for the NASDAQ. Today we've already come off the 37.5, 18,772. If it gets through there, 18,822 would be key, especially if Nvidia starts running again. And then 18,872 on a closing basis. If we can't, and I'm not talking today, but going into next week, if we can't get a close above 18,872, that's where I'm going to be watching for a more significant rollover play. Remember, daily cycles still headed down. Weekly cycles in the topping area. So we could be setting up for another significant topping area with waning momentum and divergence. Also, the doubles on the S&P and the NASDAQ are still in play. The potential doubles. So, do not get now, they might never trigger. Again, if the NASDAQ bounces back strongly, it'll probably invalidate the double, but for the time being, they're still in play. Good morning, McRangers. Good morning, Martinez. Thank you, Eric. You as well. Good morning, Legion Reaver. All right, the Dow. The Dow did some more technical damage. The Dow came back to the 50 EMA, closing below the rotation zone. And look at this. This is breaking some pretty key support because there's some pretty key support that's 39.5. So the key levels I'm watching on the Dow, get that 4 hour. The key levels I'm watching on the Dow, if it gets through 39,251, it's not even back to 39.4. It's going to be roughly about 39,340, 39,350. The Dow, since we do have a little minor pausing bar, we can come up here. On a sell-off in the Dow, we have 38,977 to about 38,950 is a target should this little channel be broken. So that's very key. The Dow's got a lot more heavy lifting to do because you see that 62.5 is right up here in your level of significance, 39, roughly 39.8. 39.8. So the Dow has to really get in gear over the next few days to get into short-term bullish mode. The key line in the sand for me, 38,494. Why? Because that can be a front run, a potential front run on a close below that to front run the double, to at least retest this low area from middle April and beginning of May. There's some very key levels down here. All right, you can see right here, that's significant. That's a significant level right there. Came up in December. Again, pause, finally broke through, retested support. Came off, sold down here middle of April. You can see all the closes right at there. Moved back down, came down, retest that level, key close, emotional candle there. Gapping back above this level, and then the rally back. So, on a close below about 38,500, 38,495, that would be the first key level. Then I'd be going off that 87.5, 37,807. And then if that craps out, a close below 37,463 triggers a double. So the Dow is a lot closer to potentially triggering a double, but may never trigger. And this is going to be a pretty bearish bar on the week. The Russell, also coming back to the 50, the key level on the bounce back for the Russell is all the way back at 2,099.7, so 2,100. Yesterday's bar was very bearish, broke down from the corrective channel. So that's another one. The two weakest are the Dow and the Russell at this point. So that's going to be very key to watch for. School's out for summer. All right. Is it out? I mean, a lot of places still have it till like beginning of June. So I don't. It might be out some places. I don't know. What would a guy like you do in a 3-day weekend in the desert? What am I going to do? Unpack a little more stuff, grill, and sit by the pool and research some stuff. It's going to be a big weekend of research. research. I think the crap's going to hit the fan a lot more at the end of this summer. So I'm going to be doing a lot of research over the next few days in all areas. VIX, after we hit that, about 1150 handle, pretty strong reversal there. So again, going to be seeing if this is putting in at least a short-term bottom. The DAX nearly hitting the second target on the double, just trying to grind lower, but holding yesterday, holding the rotation zone, still holding it today. Going to be very key to see where the DAX closes today. 18, roughly just 18.6. By the way, that came down and pretty little bit rally. So it, from my perspective, didn't quite get that second target, but I'd at least be lowering a stop on that. The notes futures testing the bottom of the channel. So, and the prior resistance becoming support. This is very key. Still watching for this going into next week for the potential breakdown play now. The yield. We closed above the rotation zone against very key resistance. We did not get a lot of the pullback. Now we're at cycle tops. So I'll be watching any pullback now could turn into some buys, especially with the weekly being at the bottom. I doubt the yield would do much today, but I'm prepared in case we do take out last week's highs and close above that is a percent beat buy with the rotation zone. So I will be paying close attention to that, especially if the consumer sentiment numbers come in really bad in terms of inflation. If it can get a move on and close above last week's high, that is a weekly percent beat buy holding with the rotation zone. Again, I'm not giving investment advice. I'm just teaching something for the people who know the percent B stuff. That's going to be key. Might not do it today. By the way, 10-2s, look at this breakdown again. Oof. Could get interesting coming into this very key support level. Minus 45 basis points. Dollar index. Dollar index still did not close above the rotation zone. Rotating down today, as I said, I'm watching for with daily cycles at the top, weekly cycles getting to the bottom. Probably over the next week or so, we could be setting up a significant potential bottoming pattern in the dollar. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on. Crude, testing a very key support level. Let's keep the weekly crude in mind. We are between the 50 and the 62.5. We've got some buying pressure down here. And remember, crude is not closed below the 200 since we had the big boy, can we go back and buy some? We should have filled the SPR at minus $40 a barrel. But besides, once it got back above in February of 21, the 200, we have not closed back below it. So this is getting into a very key area. Weekly cycles at the bottom. I am now, with daily cycles at the bottom watching, my eyes are peeled for potential setups to the long side. I'm getting the spidey senses going up for potential long setups. Again, I don't have anything today. Going to be interesting to see if this could set up for a percent B buy next week. Natty gas after this run looking a little toppy. Remember, no close above the 62.5, and now we're getting that pullback. So it's coming into some pretty key support in here. So I'm going to be watching for any buy setups in natty gas also. Gold, significant sell-off yesterday, closing below the 62.5. We'll be watching for another rollover play in this. Now that's in the short term. We could retest this 2300 area, which is the 87.5 and the 50. We have not reconnected with the 50 since the massive breakout in March and April. So pay attention to gold on another rollover around the 50. And it could still trigger this very significant potential double top. Now, it's still against the weekly rotation zone, so it's still the lower probability, and I would not be looking for this for shorts. This would be for some medium-term potential. Oh, this triggers. Maybe I wait for a bigger pullback in gold to reestablish some stuff. Copper also. Copper triggered this lopsided double. Lopsided double against the rotation zone, but going to be watching to see if we get a little bounce and then another rollover and a push lower. I've talked about that 4.5, 450, 450, 450. We could easily return to 450 without doing major technical damage. But also remember, this is a very major long-term top area. If you look, here's a monthly copper chart. Okay? We're in a major topping area. So, even if it stays elevated, that's inflationary up here. It doesn't have to collapse back down. But we can easily get some pullbacks and stall out up here. Have you seen the military-aged men coming across? Yes. I have seen a lot of stuff about that. Where's gold headed short term? I just gave you my thoughts on gold. So, I think we'll continue to get a pullback in the short term. 10-year, back above 1. Pay really close attention to this. Yen, look at this with the 62.5. Let's see if it closes above there, 157.09. That could be a retest of the major yen intervention territory. So this is going to be could be a pretty short-lived intervention, and I think Japan's going to get a very interesting situation shortly. Euro coming down, hitting that first target in the channeling double, and then the bounce back. So the new invalidation point for this is 108.60, 108.61 technically. It's still caught in the channel. Spiders, outside key reversal day, spiking up along again above this 532.30, and then that's all she wrote. So this will be single candle harmonics if you're playing along at home. The key levels, 527.47 is roughly where we're open. 527.85 would be a first target for me, and then major target would be 528.90. That's the 50% of this key outside reversal. In order for me to get back into short-term bullish mode, beyond a little bounce thingy-majiggy, 529.94. So roughly it needs a close of about 530. To the downside, this is where I'll use the harmonics too, 526.81, 525.76, and then a retest of the lows. On a break of the lows, because we got a little pausing here at the end on the 1 hour, if we got some bad news and it did break yesterday's lows, it would be a harmonic like that, is the way I do it, which we still have a gap left behind. So I'd use 523.68, which 523.68 to roughly 523.83 would be my first target area. The gap fill, 523.30, and then the 522.63 harmonic. Qs, Wide range day, no major key reversal because it closed above Wednesday's low, but still, that's significant. So, 455.24, just above that 37.5. So the next target to the upside for me would be 456.22, then 457.31. Remember, if you learned something from this last price action yesterday, these single candle harmonics can be very powerful. 457.31 is the level that has to close above to really focus on retesting the highs of this key reversal bar. Bitcoin, after stalling out again at major resistance and the 87.5, pulling back. We had the Ethereum ETF approval stuff. The massive double still on the weekly basis is still in play, the lopsided double. Let's see if this turns into sell the event like after NVIDIA earnings and the Ethereum stuff getting approved. NVIDIA, the key level now is the gap up from earnings bar. That's going to be the key level to watch for longer term. This 1,015. At this point, we are open. If we're going to look at yesterday's bar just in terms of NVIDIA, pay attention to the 1045.20 level on a closing basis today. If you're watching something short term, at least a 1 hour close above there could putting in at least a retest of this 1057 to 1063 area. Tesla, again, more and more bad news. It just can't really break down below this 167.75. When it does, watch out below. Other than that, not much to talk about. Let's take a look at the opening. Again, do not forget about the numbers that come out at 10 a.m. Consumer sentiment is going to be very key. So still 39.09, 39.10 area. If it does break above 39, 53.09, 53.10. Has to get 53.04 is the minor resistance going in the open. Let's check the tick. Very strong tick opening. Very strong tick opening. So after a pullback, if the S&P going to be watching for the break above that 53.05, then it would be that 53.10 area, then 53.21. On support, should the tick break down and it can't break through this 53.05 key resistance area, the key support I'm looking at is 52.95. Okay, gold is overshot, so could go up first. We could get a bounce, but I'm watching for the next rollover play, as I said. Gold is it's not oversold on my side, maybe on the very short term. But we'll have to see. Now this bounce, well, I'm just going off the probabilities. Close below 62.5 favors a return to the 87.5 and that 50. Then we'll see. We'll see if it can hold the base from early May or if it triggers the double. Holds the base from earlier May, I'll watch for a buy setup and then a potential return to a triple top. So that's where we sit. All right, let's just peek at the NASDAQ in the open. NASDAQ, very key resistance at that 18,770. So again, don't do stupid on a Friday before a long weekend. Don't do stupid on any Friday. It can ruin a whole weekend, but especially going into a long weekend with a significant move yesterday. So that's where I will leave it. Hope everyone has a wonderful Memorial Day weekend, and I shall talk to everyone. Unless something major happens, it won't be Monday, it will be Tuesday morning. Bye for now.